Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game. Well, morning for me. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. And welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian. And today I am your only co-host because we're doing, for me, a morning show because our guests are overseas in Germany. So sadly, Jim and Hunter couldn't make it because they're working. But joining us from Erlagen? Did I say that right? Erlagen? Erlagen? Is it Lagen?
Erlangen.
Erlagen.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Joining us from Erlagen, Germany, are two of the developers of the shooty, buildy, miney, because shooty, buildy, miney up thing, space game Avorion. We got Konstantin Kronfeldner. The N throws me off. That's what throws me off. If it was just Feldner, I could do it, but the N throws me off. So we got developers Konstantin Kronfeldner and Philip Earhart. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. Now, I wanted to say, I'm going to be perfectly honest. When I first saw your game, I'm like, oh, another one? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not great at building ships. I'm actually fairly terrible at it. And this coming from a guy who used to be huge into Lego and whatnot. I'm terrible at building ships. So I'm like, oh, really? I got to build more stuff? Because I'm terrible at building it. But as we were saying before the show, you guys actually added a key ingredient to a game, an actual game. Because while I like Space Engineers and I like Empyrean and stuff like that, there's not really a game there really muchly yetly. So before we get into kind of that, let's start at the beginning. First, why don't you give folks the elevator pitch, the rundown of what you the sales pitch of what Avorion is.
All right. Basically, Avorion is a base sandbox, a pop-up sandbox where people can build their own ships from blocks of varying sizes, not just the usual voxel style, but you can actually scale your blocks to have more interesting designs and also to save performance. Because usually performance depends on the number of blocks and not necessarily the size. And apart from building, there's actually we wanted to make sure that you spend more time flying around your ship you spend building your ship. So we have a lot of neat little features like loot, combat. You can upgrade your ship. You have to manage your crew. Tons of things like that. And basically, on top of all that, in Avorion, you usually fly the bigger ships. You fly the cruisers, the battleships. You don't fly the tiny one-man fighters, but you fly the large ships.
Yeah. Oh, and folks, I got to apologize. We're having some issues with Discord this morning. For some reason, the audio seems to be cutting out on both ends. For some reason, my guests are hearing me cut out a little bit, and I'm hearing them cut out a little bit. And we've tried switching servers, and I've also tried increasing the data per room. I did that already, and it's not great, but we're working with it. So I apologize if the audio cuts out. We really tried to fix that before, and I'm going to keep tweaking it. But I just wanted to throw that out there that if the audio is kind of fudgy, Discord seems to be having some issues this morning. But yeah, I really like how there's a crew management game. I really like how there's in the building screen, and I really like how you have all those stats for how much braking and how much thrust and how much, all that great stuff. I love all those stats. I like how you make that super clear.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you make that super
Thanks.
clear. So yeah, there's a lot of good, and I really like the focus on flying rather than building. You can really, and I gotta say, I love how you guys implement mining. This is how I feel mining should be in a space game. Cause, I don't know if you guys ever played Jump Gate, but it's a very similar method of mining where you point a mining beam at the asteroid, and the mining beam just sucks in the mining beam. Either you either bring it in or the mining beam sucks in the material. It's very straightforward and efficient. Whereas in Elite, you got to do that limpet bullshit, with the drones, or you got to fly and get the chunks yourself, and you want to kill yourself. So you really hate life when you're mining in Elite. So I really appreciate, since this game is kind of very mining heavy, which I love, because I don't know if you guys ever played Jumpgate. It's an old MMO that actually is still running. But
I haven't yet. So,
no, me neither.
But I might want to check it out at some point.
It's we just played 4 hours of it on a stream the other day. If you want to watch a little bit of that, but mining is the thing I've done the most in that game, and it's very similar. You point the gun, you shoot it, you bring in the materials, straightforward. Easy peasy. I also like Excelsior brings up in the chat, the physics. It's really nice how you have such a robust physics engine, how the shape of the ship can really change how it flies and how many thrusters you put on, because I built a couple of ships with just some very simple engines, and it flew very different than one of the ships the game built. Oh, and that's another thing I have to thank you for, that you don't have to build a ship if you don't want to. I found that out after I spent a billion years trying to build my own and being terrible at it. I could just go to the shipyard and spend some. There's a cost of not only money but iron, so I got to do some mining beforehand. But I could just have them build me a ship and then fly over and get it. Yay! Thank God. It's so nice that you guys did that. I have to really, really appreciate that you guys did that, because holy Christ.
Yeah, sure. It's basically a thing that came naturally when we first started out with the game. We had the procedural generation for the ships, and in the very beginning, I didn't even think of building. Actually, we just had in the very, very, very first builds where it wasn't the game, it was just a generator for ships, and it only came to me later on that basically why not build them, and first we just let them generate, and it seemed kind of logical to let the players have their own generated ships from various styles and seeds. So yeah,
and I think you really should do both. Buying pre-made chips for you, generated chips, is great if you don't want to design and you don't feel you're really creative, but you can still go to the building menu and adjust your ship for the style you're specifically playing at the moment and extend it with all the blocks you need and optimize.
Oh. Yeah, because I did do that a little bit. With the ship that it built for me. Just add some crew quarters and stuff like that. Now I really love. We're kind of jumping ahead. Before we continue talking about the gameplay itself, which I'm very excited about, let's talk about how the game got started. Like, how did this get off the ground, as it were? Like, what was the impetus for creating this? How'd you guys get together? That sort of thing.
At the very beginning, I like programming, so I naturally wanted to program a game, and I was thinking what would be a game that I could, as one person, actually accomplish and finish at some point, because I already had a couple of projects that started that didn't go anywhere, and basically it was always the amount of designing content that had to be, and basically that's when I came up with the procedural generation. I love space games. I love the X. I love the X games. At the time, I played a lot of Minecraft, and so I thought, why not make a game where I can procedurally generate the ships that would enable me to focus on gameplay and less on actually designing each single ship. And basically that's how the game was born. And I thought, why not make it multiplayer? In the beginning, it was just basically an exercise for me, and yeah. So I continued working on it. It continued growing, and at some point I released a demo, which I forgot his name, but a Russian streamer actually picked up the demo, and we had a large influx of Russian players who loved the game. And it was a really, really exciting time because people came to the forum and they talked about the game and all the stuff. And I got feedback, which was pretty awesome. And yeah, so after that, I continued working on it. While I was at uni, I met Philip. And yeah, we hit it off pretty well. We became good friends. I always talked to him about Avorion and how I loved working on it. And when
I always had to listen.
Yeah, you always had to listen to my ramblings, and yeah. And yeah, basically we hit it off pretty well. And I thought to myself, okay, now I'm gonna try it. Screw this, I'm trying. And I made a trailer. I put it on Steam Greenlight. And it basically, it took 9 days and it got greenlit. So at that point, I decided, okay, good, I'm gonna make this my job. And yeah, basically, after that, I asked Philip for help if he wanted to help me, because I knew that it was probably gonna take even more time to finish this all on my own, all alone. And we started a Kickstarter so we could basically finance the development until the early access release. And our Kickstarter got financed, which was really awesome. And yeah, so we continued working on it. And now we released it into early access. And here we are.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, good. It works. Sorry about earlier, folks. I just wanted to say I switched server. I didn't know you could do that while still talking, but I switched to another server, the U.S. East server, which is probably closer to you guys, and so the audio does sound a bit better, I think. So thanks for putting up with the technical issues we're having this morning, folks. I apologize for having to do this on the fly, but I'm still, even though after 180 some episodes, I'm still learning a lot about this stuff. So, but yeah, no, that sounds like a great story. I don't remember if I kicked to the Kickstarter.
I think you did. I'm not sure.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. I'm like, wait a minute. Of course I did. I kicked to all of the Space Game Kickstarters if I can. So yeah, I did. Okay, good. I try and put my money where my mouth is. And I'm really happy that you guys had a successful Kickstarter, because I've seen like for example, we had them on the show earlier, the Convicted Galaxy guys. And their Kickstarter is kind of floundering, which makes me always sad, because there is a fatigue going around about Kickstarter right now. I mean, there are lots of projects that never happened, and there's a lot and whatnot. There's a lot of, it's just, I don't know if the ship has sailed necessarily, but I think it's harder today to be successful on Kickstarter than it was 3 or 4 years ago, when it was
absolutely
fresher. And so the fact that you guys succeeded is really heartening. And I'm sure that was great for you guys. You guys did a nice campaign, by the way. You guys did a really nice campaign,
Thanks.
if I remember correctly.
Thanks.
So that is pretty awesome. And what was I going to say? I'm sorry, I'm still half asleep.
No worries.
So, I really like how the game not only is procedurally generated, but that the universe feels pretty alive so far. Like, I've only been in a couple of systems so far in my gameplay, but there are all these ships flying around, and there are pirates. they're doing their thing, and other ships come out to help the transports that are getting attacked by the pirates. It feels very lively. How much work has been going into making the universe feel? Because I mean, you could tell there's a lot of work. You could tell a lot of work went into the builder, and I want to talk about that too. But like, you could tell a lot of work went into a lot of areas of this game. But I want to talk about the world building. So, how much work went into the building the universe, not only procedurally, but filling it up with AI ships? Because I've only played single player, which is really awesome that you have both. But yeah, how much work went into making this universe feel alive that you're flying around in?
Basically, it was all the work since the Kickstarter. Until the Kickstarter, we basically built the engine, the core game, and now basically what we're doing is we're writing our own mods for the game, and that's how we're filling it with content. The bosses, the pirates, the distress calls, these missions. Basically, this is all content that we could add through the Kickstarter. So basically, this is what we've been doing for the last 9 months, actually. So yeah, a lot of work, basically.
So I wanted to ask about missions. Like so far, I might have missed it. Because I live by missions. I need missions in my life, and so the only missions I've seen are the bulletin board entries at the various stations. Are there actual missions besides those? And like, I guess distress calls would be missions, I guess.
Yeah, they're technically their missions. Yeah.
Okay, so besides those, is there going to be, or is there, and I missed it, a mission computer, or are there going to be like missions like the privateer style, or are the missions going to be more organic, like this station needs this, go get it, that sort of thing?
We'd like to have not too well. We want a balance between things that just happen around you, where you can participate, and things that you can actually choose to, okay, I'm going to go to this station. I'm going to look for something to do, and I'm going to accept this one mission, and I'm going to do that. Basically, we want a healthy mix of both a little, because there are players who prefer doing players who prefer doing their thing, like plan it, and there are also players who just go anywhere just to see what happens, and we definitely want to cater to both of these play styles. So yeah, but right now we don't have too many missions, sadly. Basically, this is more content that we want to work on in the coming weeks and months. Basically, yeah.
Just the fact that you.
But
guys
I mean, there's a story there, so.
Yes.
I wonder how many people already discovered this, but there are quite a few different bosses that. Each boss has a different kind of requires a different kind of strategy and supports a different style of play. So there's already a trace of really non-random encounters, but specialized missions for you to do and to progress further in the galaxy.
Oh, nice. I guess I haven't run into those yet. I was wondering if there was some kind of underlying story. I did see at one point like an exclamation point on the map, so I figured that was kind of like a questy story thing. And I went there, and it was a pirate ambush. That was fun.
Yeah.
For like 5 seconds until they ripped my ship in like a million pieces. But I'm really excited to hear that they're going to be like the more traditional mission computer where, there's a station. I'm going to see what they want me to do. But there's also the organic stuff happening around you. That sounds like an amazing mix of stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I really want to spoil anything, but if you listen to, for example, what the adventurer or some of the people that talk to you have to say, you can pick up some hints and go explore, and maybe you'll find something special there.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask about. It seems like exploration is an actual deal in this game, because Excelsior, who actually runs a server for your game, by the way, he's in the stream chat right now. He was just out and about one day and found a massive ship with a 6,000 cargo capacity. So yeah, so there are things. It sounds like there are things out there to discover out in the universe. Sounds like it's not just asteroids and stations and planets, but there are actual things to find out there as well.
Yeah, you have there are cargo fields, for example, that you can find. There are asteroids, large asteroids, which you can claim for you, and you can either found a mine on them or maybe sell them to another faction. There's old wreckages which you can transform into a ship. Well, not every wreckage, but there are some intact ships floating around which you can just take over, basically. So yeah, we're also constantly working on this exploration part, you know. So you always kind of find something new somewhere. That's I think that's important for these kinds of games, you know, that people like finding stuff where they say, hey, I'm sure nobody has ever found this before, or something like that. You know what I mean? That's pretty. That's a pretty important thing to us.
Yeah, I really I'm really excited that you have because exploration is one of my other favorite things in games, and the fact that you can just go out there and find stuff like that sounds really awesome. Now we do have a question from our podcast co-host Alien Pickle. It's Jim. He says he's curious about multiplayer and resources becoming immediately depleted in the starting area. He says the servers I have been in have been 100% mined clean of iron, so they're screwed starting out.
Yeah, that's a problem that we're currently facing. Right now, resources don't regenerate. So basically, when everybody starts out in the same start sector, at some point the start sector is going to be empty, just like he said. There are a few solutions to this where you can either have people start in different sectors just next to each other. They're like two jumps. No, not even two jumps. They're two sectors away, so you can jump to them with your mining drone. And so basically, everybody gets his own start sector where he has his own resources just to himself. But right now, we're also looking into a possibility to regenerate asteroids. I'm not yet sure how exactly this would work and when they would be regenerated, especially I don't like stuff popping up, you know. I also want to change the animation of ships warping in from hyperspace, and basically I don't want asteroids just popping up, if you know what I mean. But
Right.
yeah, we're still looking into that. But as a temporary solution for now, you can actually you can configure the server so that people start in different sectors. They will all have the same, more or less same content as the default start sector, and everybody gets its own start sector. So everybody gets his own resources.
Oh, that's neat. Now I've not done multiplayer yet, but if you're doing multiplayer, can you see other players on the map, or do you have to do they have to tell you where they are, and you have to get?
They have to tell you where you are. They have to tell you where you are.
That probably makes more sense because I'm guessing you can kill other players if you want to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly why we did this.
That makes sense. Excelsior asks if you'll be able to claim large asteroids. Like, will you be able to make a claim on it so it's your roid?
Oh, the titanium asteroids. Yes, I thought about this, but actually I don't. I'm not sure if this makes too much sense, because just because you claim it, but doesn't mean that nobody else can mine it. So you can claim it, but after that, well, it doesn't do anything actually. It's yours, but there's it's still possible that people can just come and mine it nevertheless. So, yeah. I'm not really sure what the benefit of claiming these titanium or iron asteroids would be, because they're actually there for you to find and to mine. Yeah. Hope this answers the question.
No, I think that does make sense. I think there was another question. Hang on. Oh no, that was it. So I was gonna ask, because there have been, I think, mentioned, people are talking about. Oh yeah, Jim said something about automated mining vessels. So it sounds like, because there are fighters and such in this game. So can you make, for example, like a mining carrier with mining drones, and you could tell them?
Yes, you can.
Oh my god. So yeah, how does that work? Like you can have smaller craft that you can have like a carrier ship that carries smaller craft, and then you can give those craft orders.
Yes, exactly. You can attach hangar blocks to your ship, which basically make up. They add some hangar space to your ship, where you can store fighters. Fighters can be bought at several stations. We're also looking into designing your own fighters and maybe at some point regenerating them on your ship, maybe. But you can then hire pilots who will pilot these fighters. You can organize them into squads and basically give your squads orders, which they will carry out. You can right now there are two styles of orders. You can tell them to defend yourself, so they will attack everybody they think is attacking you, and they will, or you can tell them to attack a certain target, and they will just start attacking it. If an AI carrier starts attacking, he will send out his fighters to attack his specific target that he wants to attack. So basically, since you can tell him to attack asteroids, which is basically mining, he will send out his mining fighters, if you have any, and we'll start mining the sector. Yes.
That's awesome. We have a question. We have another question from the chat. Is there or will there be the ability to reposition the UI? The game, he says, is gorgeous, spanned across 3 screens. Wow. But the UI apparently snapped to the far right and left, which makes it a lot less usable. I guess you might want that.
Oh yeah, it does that. Yeah, sure. It wouldn't be too much work, I think. But I right now I can't tell you at what point we will actually implement this, basically. But it wouldn't be too hard, I guess. We would probably add some ini files or XML files where we can just adjust the positions of the UI elements. When talking about scaling of the UI elements, that's a little harder. I can't promise anything on that. We're always working to make it run on smaller screens as well, but right now scaling is difficult. So yeah, repositioning is a lot easier than rescaling.
Now, you say you want to make it run on smaller screens. Does that mean you want this to maybe run on tablets, like that sort of thing? Or are you just talking
that's completely out of the question.
Okay,
out of the question. Yeah.
You just want to run on. You just want to be able to run on multiple types of monitors, big and small.
Yeah. Exactly.
I see. No, that makes
because lots of laptop users, for example, have HD screens, and we want to make sure that the game runs well and is usable on these screens as well.
Yeah, you could tell. I don't know why my voice broke there for a second. It sounded like I'm in puberty for a minute. You can tell. You can tell that a lot of work has gone to the UI, which I really, really, really appreciate, because I'm a sucker for a good UI, and I also hate a bad one. And getting the UI right in a game, especially a game with all of this stuff going on, like not only building but flying and mining and all that stuff, and a need for situational awareness, is very important. And you guys, I gotta say, have done a very job of making everything pretty efficient.
Thanks.
I didn't have any problem. The only problem I had was like trying to target something where there was something else maybe in front of it, and I kept targeting that thing instead. That's like the only issue I had. But I couldn't find anything like a target list or anything, so I couldn't find a way around that except to move my ship so that thing wasn't in front of it anymore. But for the most part, yeah, the AI is really efficient, and I really, really like it.
Thank you. Yeah, basically we play the game a lot, and
I bet.
obviously. So yeah, we play it a lot, and I hate games or software in general that's hard to use. So I want to make sure that I like using it, which basically results in better UI, easy keyboard shortcuts, all this stuff. Yeah, we're currently a little short on customization and stuff. We had a few complaints about customization, especially for left-handed people who use left-handed mouses and stuff. There were some people who had issues, but we're still we got to work on that a little, so you can customize it even more. Yeah.
And of course, we got very much feedback pretty early from the Kickstarter backers, so this also helped us improve regions we had overlooked ourselves.
Yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, we have another question from Excelsior. Can we please change the build menu to stop spinning the ship on exit? New players will destroy their ships because they do it near a station. And it destroys the dock. I have actually done this. I did this on my very first ship. I'm like, oh, I'll just build and then stop building. Whoa, 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 bam! Oh crap! What the hell just happened? No.
It's implemented in a way that shows you the particle system of explosions in a perfect manner.
It really does.
Yeah, it's because building mode flips the camera around. That's the problem, basically. So that might be a good change. Yeah.
Now I don't remember if I asked about this. I meant to, but I don't think I did. Did I ask about player-owned stations? Did I ask about that?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I meant to.
Well, now you did.
Yeah, now I did. I meant to because I've seen mention that people might be able to build their own stations. Is that something that you are planning, or is already?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay.
It's already in.
Oh, it's already in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's already in.
Oh, so how do you go about that?
You can either right now we have basically factory founding. You can found factories which will produce goods. You can either claim an asteroid and found a mine on it. So you have an asteroid mine which will then produce some kind of trading goods like maybe gold or aluminium and this stuff. Or you can found a factory. You can buy a factory founding ship at a shipyard and then transform this ship into a factory based on it's going to cost you based on the potential profit you can make of this factory. A neat side effect of factories is they will attract NPC traders, which will come into the sector where your station is positioned, and they will either sell their goods to your station or buy it from your station. You, of course, can take and bring your goods for free, obviously, since it's your station. We're also planning on adding player-owned shipyards, but we have to make sure that basically the money is flowing in the right direction. Right now, when a player buys a ship from a shipyard, the ship is the money just goes to the faction, and basically it disappears into nothing. And we have to add some mechanics that this money actually goes to the player who owns the shipyard. But basically that's everything there is still to do. So yeah, you can expect player-owned shipyards, for example, to be a thing soon.
That is.
Yeah, and I want to add there are really many features in the game, and I'm quite impressed by how many users find this. I mean, some stuff is still a bit obscure by now, but I'm really impressed watching some videos and streams of people finding all those features. It's really, I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, part of the joy of games like this, especially with the exploration, is the joy of discovery, of finding out new stuff. Like, oh, I could do that, or oh, I can go there. And this game seems to hit a lot of notches on the belt in terms of discovering things, like discovering you could put 3 mining beams on your new ship instead of 2 now, or something like that. You know, oh look, or discovering, oh, there's a wreckage over there. You know. So there seems to be a lot of discovery underlying this game, which is great, because that's part of the joy of flying around space, is that it's a big thing. There should be a lot to find. And and the fact that
it's really awesome to see people on the Steam forums and in the Avorion forum and so on that, for example, have this problem. How do I build a station? And there are lots of people who answer those questions and help them. So it's really great.
Yeah, I mean, I took a gander at your forums, and I'm going to admit I'm not always the biggest fan of game specific forums, because they could sometimes be really toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, but your forums do not seem toxic at all. Your forums seem very helpful. A lot of people being very helpful. And pretty positive about your game, which is good, because there just does seem to be a lot of, I was saying this earlier, positivity around your game. Like a couple weeks, like I think I mentioned a week or so ago that we're having you on the podcast, and some people in our Discord server bought the game, and they're like, it's all I could play now. Oh my God, it's all I could play. My friend Alex, who doesn't seem to be here at the moment, he made like a hour-long video for new players to get started, that sort of thing. So yeah,
that's amazing.
There does seem to be a lot of positivity surrounding your game, which is great. You know, so congratulations on that. Ooh, another question. Any plans on adding more ant colony simulation with AI factions? Or like, yeah, because there are factions in the game you could work for or against. We haven't even talked about factions, but there are factions in the game that you could, you know, have a relationship with.
Yes, exactly. Any plans on adding more ant colony simulation? I'm not sure if I understand this correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Well, basically,
I think watching an ecosystem.
Yes, that is actually a problem we are facing with the procedural generation, because right now sectors are generated based on a seed, and they're generated when basically when a user says, okay, I want to go to this sector. When you put it into your nav computer, then you start the sector generation on the server. And one issue we're facing is that we can't 100% predict what is going to be in the next sector, since it's randomly generated, procedurally but randomly. And we're working on predicting this a little better. And once we can do that, we can add more simulation steps, like maybe ships moving from one sector to another, or we can predict where certain stations will be. We can predict where a factory will be. And yeah, the reason why we're doing this in this way is we're still constantly adding content to the game. It would be possible to generate basically the area around the player. That would work, but once this generation is done, the content is fixed. The content will not change except for when players go there and basically blow up stations or build new ones or something like that. So when we are adding new features, we have to we want to respect that. You may want to find these new features, these new sectors. You may want to find them around your position where you have already been, and right now this is possible because sectors are only generated when you actually go there. But if we generate them based on suspicions that the player might go there, we're on one hand increasing server load, and on the other hand we are increasing the amount of sectors that are already pre-generated, so we can't. You won't find any new content in these sectors where you haven't, not only where you have already been, but also where you have been approximately. And this problem gets even bigger when people start building larger hyperspace engines, and basically the area where they can jump to gets bigger. So we would have to generate an even larger area. And now imagine having 10 people on your server. Basically, the one thing the server will be doing is generate new content all the time. So yeah, we're basically always battling the technical difficulties and that we're facing together with the immersion that we want to create of a truly living universe, and a universe where that is simulated as much as possible.
That sounds like a really reasonable answer. Because the server sounds like it's doing a lot of work with multiple players and generating content around those players. So
yes,
this kind of does lead into a question that was asked. What would you suggest as the recommended server spec for a server of maybe 20 people?
I'd say for 20 people, you would definitely want 8 cores, a very beefy processor, and you also need a really large upstream, because whenever the server generates a sector, or whenever a player changes the sector, all the sector content has to be sent to the player. The content cannot be generated. The content cannot be generated on the client. It would be possible to generate it once, but as soon as as another player, since it's consistent, as soon as another player changes anything, you would have to have this new content on the client's machine, of course. So yeah, that's why you need high bandwidth. You need a beefy processor, because the procedural generation, it eats up hardware basically, and you also need a lot of RAM. The server currently keeps sectors that are connected to sectors with players in memory, so they're available immediately. For example, when you jump through a gate, so you don't have a long loading screen when you enter a gate. It's already there's already a loading screen, but we shortened that by keeping the sector in memory, and we also want to keep the sectors in memory in the future, because we want to enable players to have stations in sectors where they're not currently at, so that, for example, you can have a ship in another sector which does some mining, or a station, a factory, which continues running while you're not there, while you're away. So we have to keep, in the future, we will have to keep even more sectors in memory. So I'd say for 20 people, I would say 64 gigabyte. 32, 64, something like that. Yeah,
Okay,
it's you need a really beefy machine for that.
because
Yeah.
Excelsior in the stream chat here is running a server with 165 players,
Oh wow.
773 factions, and almost 3,000 sectors. And apparently he's trying to run it on a Google Compute Engine, which I guess is a virtual machine, and he's having some real lag issues. So
Yeah, we're currently working on that. That's that's an unfortunate issue with the faction battles. Basically, factions can attack each other, and right now there's an issue where too many faction battles actually spawn. So when you have two factions battling each other, it's basically constant total war. They are attacking each other without stopping. So that's currently an issue. I'm working on that actually. I was working on that this morning, and I'm pretty confident that we are going to sort this out soon. So there will be a lot less lag issues. Those are basically these lag issues are basically created by these faction wars spawning, and yeah.
So this sounds like a kind of a serious issue that might affect some folks because of the way the procedural generation and everything. Now, someone suggested maybe have pre-generated galaxies for maybe larger multiplayer servers, so it's not procedurally generating everything all the time. Would that be an option? At least?
Technically, no, because the servers. Well, it would be possible, of course, but the server would take hours to start up to generate the entire content. Maybe with smaller galaxies, well, basically with smaller play areas, that would work. But with the current setup, we have 1 million sectors, and roughly 15 to 20% of these sectors have content. So we would have to generate 200,000 sectors on startup, which would take a few hours, basically. So it's for me, it's not an option, to be honest. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I mean, just the fact that you not only allow multiplayer and single player in a game this complex, but that it runs fairly well and allows that many players. Like, how many players can you theoretically have in a server? Because apparently we can at least have 165. But can there be a lot more? Like, is there a theoretical limit to how many people on a server?
Well, basically, there's a technical limit. So there's also a theoretical limit because at some point you have too many players. The Galaxy resources get depleted, and it's not going to be fun for anyone when you can't mine, you can't find any resources. So, but yeah, we don't impose a player limit. You know, if you got the hardware, you can have the players. Basically, I don't think it's well, we want to have everything configurable as much configurable as possible. So but we want to give them as much options as possible, basically at your own risk, if you know what I mean.
So I haven't done multiplayer yet, but is there like a separate server program, or is it all done in game? And and how many options do you give the host when they run their server? Are there like messages that they can send to players, for example, stuff like that?
Right now we have a separate server executable. We have a server tool on Steam available in the anonymous package. And what the single player does, it basically starts up a server that only allows the player to log in. So basically, when you're playing single player, you're actually playing single multiplayer, if that makes any sense.
That's great.
And yeah,
that totally makes sense.
And I also want to move away from this model a little. So it's not two separate processes in single player, because players are having issues with virus scanners, because virus scanners just see, hey, there's a server starting up, and some are blocking it and stuff. So we want to fuse them into their own process, or add a better sort of communication, which won't be over network. But considering the options, we want to give as many options as possible. Right now, you have you can configure all the scripts on your server. So basically, you have as many options as you want to. However, these options may not be suitable for everybody. You'd have to know Lua to actually what you would be doing is you would mod your server a little bit, and we want to add some more configuration in ini files, so you can maybe set starter resources, or to basically give more options, like how much loot you're going to get, how many how many resources you're going to get, how much loot you're going to get. Maybe even block costs could be increased or decreased. Basically it's just adding options for numbers. That's not that big a deal to implement, and I think it would be a great addition to the server in the future.
That sounds all pretty awesome. Now, apparently, I misread. Excelsior only allows 20 people at a time on his server, but he has 165 players. But
yes,
still, that's still a lot of people. It's still a lot of people on one server in a shared universe. That's pretty great.
The game is not an MMO. I just want to make this clear.
Yay! Thank you.
People just see online multiplayer, and a lot of people think, oh, that's an MMO. It's not. Avorion is not an MMO. I just want to make this as clear as possible. We allow multiplayer. We allow multiplayer with 10 or 20 people, but we're not working towards a solution where you can have hundreds of players on your server. So just to make this really official, and yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. It, like Vulcan in the chat says, it has MMO potential, which is fair. You know, it does have potential for that sort of thing. And I guess people, if they wanted to run a server kind of like an MMO, they probably could a little bit, because you said they could mod it to do their own thing.
If you have a machine that has like 1,000 processors and a terabyte of RAM, sure, it would be possible, but that's not a real world case. So it's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, players can host their own servers. They can see what works. They can mod and fix things they don't like. So it's really their own decision. But it's not officially supported for hundreds of players.
Yes, we're not laying out the game for hundreds of players. That's not what we're working towards.
No, that's fair. People can go play Eve or whatever else if they want that sort of that sort of scale. You know, that's totally fair. So what engine is this game running on? You mentioned Lua, you mentioned XML. What's the engine? Is it a custom job? Is it Unity? What is this running on?
No, it's a custom engine that I wrote basically, while I was in university. I just it at the beginning it was just an exercise for me, and it continued growing, and well, now I've got my own engine basically. But it has a couple of advantages. Basically, when we want to adjust things, we can easily adjust various details. Where when you're using Unity or Unreal Engine, you have you're basically limited to what the engine can do. It does a lot of things for you, but you're limited in the way that the engine wants you to do things, and we can adjust that. And that's actually a great advantage that we have over other engines. On the other hand, it's a lot of work, and we're still having a few issues with graphics, especially on Intel cards. So it comes at a price too.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking it might be its own thing because it doesn't really look like a Unity game. Like I've never seen like a Unity game with, like I think the thing that tipped me off that this might be a custom engine was the thruster animations, because when you have a ship that has like 1 million thrusters on it and they're all firing, you're like, I really haven't seen that. So that's really, really amazing. Now I wanted
Did
to
you build
ask,
one of these ships that turn into a little sun when you turn around? And
oh god, I've not seen that yet, but that's probably hilarious.
yeah, it's kind of fun, but it's also annoying. So we want to make sure we're going to tone down the thrusters in the future. Yeah,
I think down the road there are, I don't want to name a date, but there are still quite a few graphical effects we have an eye on, and yeah, would like to implement.
Now, are you guys also gonna make any kind of screensaver? Because I gotta say, the main menu thing where you can just hit F5 and refresh space stations and stuff, this would make a great screensaver. Seriously, you guys, leave money on the table. Leave money on the table. Just make like a 99-cent screensaver DLC. I would buy that in a heartbeat. In a goddamn, especially if it supported multiple monitors. Oh, could you do that? That's my request. Make a screensaver of it, because yes, it's a custom engine, but it's very pretty. You guys have done a great job. It's a very pretty game.
Thank you.
And the universe feels very lively, and I really like how the asteroids, especially the mineable, I like how not every asteroid is mineable, but I like how the ones that are really stick out from the ones that are not. You know?
Yeah, that was one important thing too. When we started testing, people would not know where these asteroids are that you can mine. So we decided to make them pop out a lot, so you can actually see them a lot better, and you know what to look for. Yeah, in the very first builds, actually every asteroid was mineable, and that's the problem that we had there. Was it felt like a pure grind. It was just a grind, you know. Every asteroid was mineable. All you did was fly from one asteroid to the next and get some resources out of it. And basically we changed that. So now you have a few asteroids with lots of resources. So basically you're looking around more, which makes the thing a lot more interesting for miners.
Yeah, it does. And I really like how even you made them pop out so much you can see them from several kilometers away in a very dense asteroid field, which I really like. Now, if I read correctly, where you start out, it's mostly iron asteroids, but the closer you get to the center of the universe, you get more varied types of metals.
Yes, we started out with different materials, and at some point I wanted to make sure that there's some kind of progress. And when you're in a galaxy, well, where do you go usually? Well, the interesting thing is in the center of the galaxy, I think. So that's how I came up with the going to the center of the galaxy. I have to say for myself, when I made this decision, I didn't know about No Man's Sky. So yeah, please be gentle in that that aspect with me. Yeah, it was. We ran into some things where people were saying, so basically this is No Man's Sky. And I was like, huh? Why?
See, I've not
Why?
I've not played it. I've not played No Man's Sky. I don't care. But But is that the same thing? Like you go, the closer you get to the center, the more valuable stuff you find? Is that in No Man's Sky as well?
I think in Avorion the center is much more rewarding than in No Man's Sky. But I only watched some videos.
I would say that applies to the entire game. I'm gonna say right now, because I have not played No Man's Sky, but I've watched people play No Man's Sky, and it looks so boring. It looks so dull. It's like, yeah, you made this beautiful procedurally generated universe. Now what? Ooh, you get to move some stuff. It looks so stupid. It looks so empty and dull.
Well, I don't think it's quite that bad, but the expectations were through the roof, so
This is true.
it was just impossible to meet those.
Yeah,
I think that's the major issue they had. Yeah.
Yeah, and Elysion is right. He said there have been so many space games where the goal is the center, and also a common thing in sci-fi. So anyone who thinks No Man's Sky originated that is just plain dumb. I agree. This is not the first time that you go toward the center, and that's where the more valuable stuff is. Just not every game does that. So what do the other, like, so far I've only had to deal with iron, which lets you build like the most basic stuff. But what do the other metals allow you to build, like more powerful weapons and engines and stuff like that? Like what are the benefits of seeking out the other metals in the game?
The other metals, usually, basically, they scale with their rarity, with their health points. For one, scale with their tier. So metals with a higher tier have a higher durability, and at the same time, they allow building more different kinds of blocks. So you have titanium, which allows you to build generators or batteries. You have neonite, which allows you to build shield generators, for example. Hangars come with trinium. They also have different densities. So trinium, for example, is the lightest material. So when you build your ship out of trinium, it will be a lot more maneuverable than a ship made of iron. So that's one thing that we were after.
No wonder a server needs so much power to run this thing. You got a billion calculations going on and a billion things all at once, plus all the procedural stuff. Gee. It's really impressive, actually, that you have weight and mass and all that stuff taking into account for individual blocks.
Yeah, we started out with basically what I wanted was a physics-based game where flying would feel the way I imagined, at least how it would feel in an actual in reality when you're flying in space, which is also the reason why we have this mechanic where you have to flip your ship 180 degrees into the opposite direction if you want to brake really strongly, and so at some point we realized that it might be a good idea to just add different densities to these materials, different health points to make it all a little more interesting.
So yeah, the material you're using is kind of representing a level, if you will.
Oh,
yeah.
That's neat. Vulcan in the chat, and I hope I'm saying that right, asks what are the inspiration for the names of the metals?
Trinium, for example, is a metal that's used in Stargate, actually. And I'm a big Stargate fan, so I asked. Well, no, I used that for because in Stargate it's a very light metal, so I used it for the lightest metal, for example. The remaining metals are basically I made them up. It's not like I had too much of a this might sound a little dumb, but there was not that that much of a thought process behind behind these medals. I picked out a few medals that were that might sound cool, you know.
Yeah, and I noticed that Avorion is actually a medal in the game, and I'm guessing that's the rarest of the medals.
Yes, exactly. In the lore, it's the medal that popped up in the middle of in the center of the galaxy, or which is at least rumored to have appeared in the middle of the galaxy.
I like.
Yeah, I thought.
Sorry, go ahead.
I thought it might be cool to emphasize the hunt for this medal, which is also a thing which we want to add even more in the game, because actually we want to show more that people are actually hunting for this medal, and that people are actually in the galaxy trying to overcome the barrier, or at least some of them are. To find this rare metal, you know, and to build their ships.
I have to be honest.
Basically, like a treasure hunt.
I like to. Yeah, I was gonna say I have to be honest. I like how right off the bat it lists all the medals you can get in the game. So it's like, oh, this is the best medal you can get, and you have none of it. You're not gonna have any of it for a while. That's gonna be zero. That's gonna be zero for a long time, pal. So just get used to it. But you can get it. It's out there somewhere. You can get it. You just can't yet. You just haven't found it yet. So I like that. I like how right off the bat it's like, ooh, I want that. You can't have it yet. Oh.
Ooh, I just got an idea for.
I want it then. I want it then. Yeah, I like that. I like how it's transparent right off the bat. Now, one thing I wanted to request while I have you here is in the build mode. There are times where I'll be like, oh, I need more crew quarters, and I'll add more crew quarters, and the number of available crew slots won't go up, and I won't know why. So I would love it if there was either some kind of explanation as to why, or maybe just a button that says "Build it for me." Done. Like just build it or finish it for me. You know what I mean? Like a finishing button. You know, like I can't figure this out. Done. That'd be great for someone like me who has no patience. I'm just saying.
A finishing button would be hard, but yeah, the building mode is still lacking some explanations for several things. We want the problem that you faced probably was that your crew quarters block was too small. The same as with cargo bays. When you build them too small, they don't actually add anything up, because it's basically it's a half a crew quarter, you know. And I agree that this could be a lot more transparent. I agree that this could be a lot better. But on the other hand, we don't want to display half crew quarters, because that would be confusing a little.
Maybe a small red +0 or something. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, probably I'd add some tooltips telling you that this block won't do anything because it's too small.
Yeah,
that would be the best, I think.
Something like as you're building the block, just like a little tooltip over the block that says, this won't, like this will add 0 crew quarters, and then you make it bigger.
Yes.
This will add 1. This will add 2. That sort of thing. But I also liked how you actually had crew. It's not just your crews are not just like, oh, I just have 3 crew. I just need 3 more crew members and that's it. They actually have morale. I found that out the hard way because I was flying around with not enough crew quarters, and all of a sudden, like, your crew's pissed off. What? Why are they pissed off? I like that. So, can a crew mutiny at some point?
Not yet, but yeah, we want to add that. We want to add that. We want to add mutiny. So basically, what would happen is they may converge over to pirate factions or something like that, you know. So if you don't pay them for long enough, they might go kill the captain and then start to turn against you.
That's great. That's great. So you are not the physical captain of the ship. The captain is a crew member. You are like a am I guessing right? You're like a disembodied faction leader, and
Yeah, that's probably the best description. Yeah. While you're piloting the ship, you're still the captain in a way, but you still have this crew member, this captain crew member on your ship, which is important when you want to give commands to your ships. So when you tell them to go mine or escort somebody, they will need a captain, so they can basically act on their own.
I see. So without a captain, they're just gonna drift there because there's no one to give the crew orders.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. So yeah, that's a gameplay element that we added.
I like that. So you can have whole fleets and give ships orders and stuff like that, and fly around with a fleet of multiple ships. But every ship has to have a captain, so you can give that ship orders. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I guess you'd need a ton of materials to make your own fleet, but it sounds like once you have your own station in the shipyard, you could totally do that. Oh, unless you find a ship and repair it. One thing I was going to mention is that I like that the your inventory for metals is kind of universal. It's not ship dependent, so you can just have you can just keep mining iron as the day is long. Because you're going to need it, it sounds like. You're going to need those materials if you find a ship to repair, or you want to build a station, so you're going to need a lot on hand. So I like the fact that you kind of just made like a universal bank.
Yeah,
to put all that in. That's very simple and clever.
We want to add some lore explaining why this is actually happening, because there are other goods like ore or something that can't be stored like this. So that's why you have cargo base.
Yeah.
Exactly. But we found that that especially for repairing and building, it feels a lot better when you have a universal currency. Basically, it's made up like a currency,
right?
And it's just a lot easier. We first had the idea of basically mining ore, and then you have you would have to bring that ore to a resource depot, and they would refine it, something like that, and then you had your materials, your resources. But we scrapped that idea after it just didn't feel good. It was tedious. It was really tedious. It wasn't fun, and so we scrapped that. We also tried out we had some experiments in early builds where we would have to have these resources in your cargo bay, and this I scrapped it after 3 days. I tried it out for 3 days, and it was so annoying that I said, "Oh no, I can't do this. I can't bear to play my own game if it is like this." So,
I gotta say this Floridon just bought the game after hearing this, so we just got another sale. Thank you, Floridon.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much.
But I love one of the reasons I love the idea of this universal stash so much is that when you die, yes, you lose your ship, but whatever you mined, you still have access to it, so you can just buy another one. So death, while time-consuming and kind of annoying, especially if you spend a lot of time trying to build a ship, and the ships are saved, so if you add enough materials, you can just boom, get your.
You can also buy insurance for them, so you get your money back.
Right, but I'm also saying that if I recall correctly, my ship was I was building a ship, it was saved, so I can just load that ship if I had enough resources, it just appears. Am I remembering that correctly? I think I did that for one ship. Because if I remember correctly, I got killed. I had my little mining drone. Then I oh look, I can load my old ship because it saved it. And since I had enough iron and money, it just made it right there on the spot.
you can just like that pop it back basically.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, that's also one thing which we added after. Well, as I said earlier, I've played the game a lot, and I've come into all these situations where you die and you lost your ship and you're annoyed, and then you have to rebuild the entire thing. And then I thought, what other games have been doing for a long time is you just respawn. And I wanted to give players a way to basically just respawn their ship, and that's why we came up with this mechanic.
Yeah, it's a really nice mechanic, and I also like that you don't respawn immediately as that ship. Like, you'll get killed, and then you'll be your little mining drone guy. It's like, oh, that ship didn't work. Let me try this other ship that I built.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really like that a lot. So yeah, I like that Universal Bank makes death a lot less painful than it could be otherwise.
Yeah, and it's already painful.
Yeah, I mean,
it's already
you
painful,
want death to be painful because you want it to hurt a little bit, but you don't want it to hurt so much that people just rage quit. You know, you don't want that. So that's great. And so I really, really like that. Now, Vulcan asks, what will be the future use of trading goods instead of just selling them to the highest bidder? Will there be, some stations request certain trading goods so far, but will there be another reason, like, oh, a ship needs this fuel really quickly, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we want to add missions for example, you find a stranded carrier who needs energy cells to replenish their batteries or something like that. And we also, which is already in the game, we have crafting. You can go to a turret factory, and with the help of basically, it doesn't cost money, but it costs resources and some money. But if you would sell these resources, it would be basically the overall cost for a turret at the turret factory is cheaper than just buying it, and you can customize it. You can, for example, add more servos for something, or you can add more laser heads, which might increase your range of your laser cannons, things like that. Yeah.
Excelsior brings up a good point also, that in Jumpgate, I know I'm mentioning Jumpgate again, but I really fucking love Jumpgate. It's probably the game I have the most time in ever. And in Jumpgate, certain stations produced certain pieces of certain resources and equipment if you brought certain materials to them. So like, if you need this piece of equipment, this station will make it, but you have to bring these things to it. So maybe that could be a thing. I don't know. That sounds.
That's basically the way the turret factories work. Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
Okay, but I mean, it's not just turrets. This is like so many different things. But that's. I was gonna mention also about turrets. I like that the universal storage not only stores materials, but also stores upgrades as well. So like, oh, I just want to store that turret for later. Just put it in the bank.
Yeah, that's just your inventory. Again, we thought about putting it into your ship, but once you die, all your stuff is gone.
Yeah, that's
unbearable. And also, when you want to upgrade your ship, you can just do this. You don't have to fly one ship to another ship to make sure they exchange turrets, and then you can build the turrets. It makes things a lot easier for both the players and us as the developers.
Right. So, your newest fan, Floridon, has a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think we did talk about this. What would you say the thing that you were working? What would you say is the big thing you're working on currently at the moment for the next iteration?
Okay, so right now we're focused on eliminating bugs. We had some very frustrating issues where people would have server crashes and their ships would be gone, and this is not acceptable for us. And we want to focus on this right now. We're making some great progress. I will soon set up the public testing server again, so we can see how well all this has been resolved so far. And then we're going to make a little patch. We're planning one little patch where we're going to add group mechanics. So you can form little groups with other players. For example, you can ask your friend if he wants to join your group. This This is basically like a little like an RPG group, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But
Like a
the
wing.
main purpose is that you can see each other, and you can see each other on the map, especially. Right now, people don't know where the other players are on the map, which is, as we already said, which is kind of intentional because you can shoot other players down, and we will. So we will add the, when you're in the same group, you can see where all the players of your group are on the map. And after that, the next really big upcoming update is alliances. Founding alliances with other players. Alliances will be alliances will basically be their own factions. So alliances can have resources, they can have money, they can own stations, they can own ships, and we want to make it possible that you can have shared ships with all the members of your alliance, basically. So you can build them together, you can fly them together. We're looking into a mode for flying ships together, so you can assign seats, like for example, you have one pilot seat, one player is the pilot, and you have then you can, since you can already customize weapon groups, you can then assign gunner seats if you want, like and add several groups to gunners, several turret groups to these gunner seats. So maybe one player can fly the cruiser, and two players can operate guns and turrets and shoot in different directions, for example. So you can fly your own ship, well, in a group of three, and maybe we'll even add players who will be able to command the fighter squadrons. So you can have different roles than on the ship. Yeah. So that's the next big thing that we're currently working on.
That sounds amazing. Now, it sounds like you guys are planning on, at least on your Steam page, it says you want to be out of early access by Q3. Is that still on track?
Yeah, we're doing our best to reach that goal. We've made some great progress, and if we can continue this pace of progress, I'm pretty confident that we'll finish it in 6 to 12 months. Yeah.
Now, I asked this of everyone who's we have a question from the audience. I'll ask that first.
Mm-hmm.
Will planets become explorable? And I did see on the Steam forum someone asked that similar, and I'm pretty sure you guys said probably not, but someone just asked, so here we go.
We're getting this question a lot, and if we're ending walking around on the ship. The answer to both questions is no. We thought about doing planets, but actually, I don't see a way that we can make this efficient and basically how we can do this in a way that it feels right and that we're actually happy with it. And so basically doing planets or ship interiors have this would have the scope of a second game, basically. And
yeah, that's
yeah, we just can't do this. We want to concentrate on the space part. We want to concentrate on the space flying around part, and we want to get that right. And maybe in some future updates, but I really don't think so, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't usually like pimping other games during a podcast, but Tom, on YouTube, if you want a game that lets you walk around planets and your own ship, try Rodina. That game allows you to do both. So this game is not for that, unfortunately, which that's fine. You know, you can't have every game doing the same thing. You know, you got to have variety. So, yeah, sadly, no planets in this game, which is fine. Not every game has planets. Whatever. You
You do have planets, but you can't explore them.
you can't like do anything with them, really. I mean,
Yeah, no,
you can't.
no, you can't.
Yeah, like I remember.
You can approach them. They're actual objects, but they're like ghosts if you want. You know, you can't really crash into them or so, but you can go around them if you fly long enough.
I did it once just for fun, and it was really it took quite some time to get there, but it was I don't know, it's no big thing, but it was a cool feeling, kind of like a satellite flying around an Earth-like planet. I thought it was cool.
But they don't have any actual physics. They're just for background.
Which is totally fair. I mean, focus on what works for you guys. It's your game. God damn it. Now, what I was going to say is I did, like, we talked about how positive your forum is and whatnot. Oh, God, we got 2 more questions from the audience, but I'm going to ask mine, damn it. How is... I've noticed for a lot of developers that early access, and I always say this is a double-edged sword because you have to worry about expectations of people expecting like a full game right off the bat and whatnot. So how has early access been treating you guys?
So far, pretty good. Our reviews are pretty awesome, to be honest. I didn't expect that, to be honest. We have like 93% positive, which is incredible.
That is great.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I'm so happy. I can't even begin to tell you. But of course, there were people who said, yeah, the game crashes and I've lost my ship, and they were frustrated, which is understandable. You spend 5 hours building your ship, and then it just vanishes because the server crashed and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, that's understandable, to be honest. But the overall response has been pretty good. We have a lot of people helping each other out. Steam forums are very nice as well. We have already a really great community that I'm really proud of, and yeah, so far things are going really well.
Yeah, no, I mean that 93% review score is, especially for an early access game, is
it's amazing.
It's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it's well deserved because you guys are pretty clear with your vision. You guys are pretty clear with your vision, and so it's really nice to see that not only you're clear with your vision, but you're sticking to it. You know, so that is pretty great.
Yeah, we're doing our best. We have a lot of expectations now that we have to fill, but we're doing our best as always, and yeah, I'm confident that we can fulfill most of these expectations.
Yeah, and I like the pace of what you're working on. It looks like updates are fairly regular. Like, do you guys have an update schedule, or you just try and be upfront about when you expect the next update to be? Like, how do you keep how often do you guys try to update, and how do you keep users apprised of your upcoming updates?
We for severe crashes and severe bugs, I usually update as fast as possible because I want to make sure that these crashes are getting resolved as quickly as possible. For the other updates, I like the approach when it's done. I hate giving out dates because software development is pretty unpredictable sometimes, and so I prefer doing it in my own pace so I can focus on the quality. And so maybe it might take a week or 2 longer, but the content will be better than when it's just basically half-assed and thrown out without testing and stuff, and bugs are going to happen nevertheless. So I would like to make sure that there are as least bugs as possible. Is that? I'm looking for words here. There are basically as less bugs as we can make sure that there are, if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. I mean, you want your game to be as stable as possible and not crash for people.
Yes, exactly.
And that's got to be, I mean, it's got to be kind of tough with a custom engine. I mean, with like something like Unity or Unreal, other people find bugs that they probably report about. But with you guys are working on your own custom jobby. So yeah, you might have users find stuff, but I'm sure there's probably something like, lurking in the background you haven't found yet,
Oh my, that is my biggest fear. Having issues that might turn up at a later point and maybe screw over a save game or something like that. Yeah, that's of course that can be a problem. And yeah, once we find these kinds of problems, well, that's when we update it as quickly as possible.
So we've had, I guess the UI is kind of a sticking point for people because we've had two other people come in a little later in the show, both asking about the UI.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's kind of funny because we talked about that a while back. That was like one of the first questions. That was like the second question we got, I think. No, don't worry about it, Alex. And I think it's Krog who also asked about it. Don't worry about it. It's not like you could rewind the show and listen from the beginning, but, yeah, guys, if you missed it earlier, they say that making the AI, movable is not difficult, but scalable is another issue.
Yes, exactly.
But movable, especially for multi-monitors, or even maybe a single monitor would be great. And then maybe lock it down. So since it's a custom engine and building is a big deal, how is modding in this game? Like, is modding going to be allowed or not? Can it? Like, how easy or difficult would it be for a user to mod this?
We want to make it as easy as possible to mod. Basically, all the Lua scripts that we supply with the game are open. You can just go into the folders and look at them. Basically, what we have here is a universe sandbox engine, and all the content we're adding on top of that, based on this engine, is written in Lua and is open to everybody. And you can write your own mods. We encourage doing that. We already have I don't know. Last time I checked, I think it was 15 mods on the forum already.
Oh my gosh!
And yeah, it's mostly small things like maybe a console command to add a crew to your ship. One person made a mission where you kill a pirate captain. And so it's coming along great, and we want to encourage modding because I think a real sandbox has to be moddable. I got inspired from that basically from Minecraft because I saw how easy it was to mod for Minecraft, and I loved that. And this is something that I want to do with Avorion as well.
Apparently Alex says that with mods you have to overwrite game files. Will there be any kind of way to maybe make that a little
oh yeah, absolutely.
Will there be a way to make that smoother, like maybe some kind of mod manager where you can revert back to a default state, or maybe have a separate folder for mods?
Yeah, we're going to have separate folders for that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great.
We're doing a separate folder for basically all mods. The one thing that's awesome. Still a little difficult is that basically servers that are modded, they don't automatically sync their mods with the clients, which is mainly security thing. So we did this on purpose, and but we're going to add workshop support for mods, so that you can download workshop mods, and the server will just tell the client, hey, I have these kinds of mods. If you want to play here, you will have to download these mods. And since they're in workshop, there's a few more eyes that can look them over, but the player will still have to agree to explicitly to download these mods, and we will tell him that it is unlikely, very unlikely, but still possible that these things might be malicious. But that's actually an issue that every moddable game has. So yeah,
of course. I forgot to mention this earlier, but we've had like 2 or 3 people ask if there's going to be a first-person camera at all.
We thought about that, but I'm not sure how we would do this. We thought about making maybe a bridge block, so you have like a bridge where you can position your camera, maybe a hotkey for swapping camera positions, and
so that way if they want
that might be an option. Exactly, if they want it, they can have it. Yeah, and but the biggest issue with the camera that we have is that all ships have very, very different shapes and sizes, and we would never know where to actually place the camera, which is like the biggest issue that we have with custom cameras. So what I would think would be the best thing to do is just add a bridge block or a camera block. We'll see how we're going to call it. And then you can just position your camera inside that block, and it would be inside the block.
Okay.
So yeah, that might be a thing.
Hang on one second. I'm going to bring in, I was telling you we have a super fan of your game here. I'm going to bring him in a second. I think he wants to say hello. Yeah, let's get him in here. Come on. There we go. Hey guys, this is Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Hey guys. Hello. I just have to pause the stream, otherwise I hear double.
Alex is also in Germany, so
Yes, I am.
he is not always able to join our live shows, but it's nice to have him around. And he's just been enamored with your game of late, so I just wanted to bring him in here for real quick to say hello and see if he has any questions that we haven't already asked.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Hey guys. I might have a question, but I'm not sure if it was asked before, but I just tried. So the game is basically set up like a roguelike, right? So in the sense that if you lose your ship, you are back in the beginning sector. And you talked about that on a forum. I think I read something that you might change that. Could you go into that a bit more?
Yes, we right now what we've experienced as well. It being like a roguelike was not a decision that we made explicitly. We didn't say, yeah, we want to have it like a roguelike. It should be a roguelike where you always start over at the beginning. So
You can
what
keep
we're
some stuff. That's good. Keep your resources.
Yeah, you do actually. So, but the thing is, we want to add some stations where maybe it could be shipyards, it could be faction headquarters, where you can go and then basically set this sector as your new respawn point.
I like that because there's a mod out there. I tried it that does exactly that. You can go to a shipyard if you have like enough faction standing, and then you can do that. And I
Oh
like
yeah,
this
really?
mod.
Cool.
I think they need you need 50,000 standing with a faction, and then you can go to the shipyard and make it your home sector. There's a mod on your forum somewhere. I tried it once and I was hesitant to let it in there because it overrides the game file, and I don't know what happens if you update your game and after the mod.
Yeah, they would be overridden. So yeah.
But that would be for me perfect solution. Now, I think faction standing should play into that maybe because I think you have to earn it. I like that idea.
Yes, absolutely. I think faction standing would be very important because it gives you another incentive to get liked by a faction, you know. And but I also want to make it so that the closer you get to the core of the galaxy, the more expensive it will be to actually set your respawn point there, because I think it should still be kind of balanced in a way that it's kind of an achievement aside from just going there, because there's going to be factions that will like you immediately. That's just how they work sometimes. And in this case, it would be very easy to just set your new spawn point. I want to add a slightly more difficulty to that. Just a fee that you have to pay once to set your new spawn point there, for example. So this is especially more important once you get inside the ring, because respawning inside the ring might not always be the thing you're looking for. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. Very cool. Yeah, and otherwise I don't know how long will the show actually go on. And like I said, I don't know what questions were already asked.
Yeah, we're gonna
so I
wrap
don't
up
want
in
to-
probably within the next 15
Yeah.
minutes because I do have to go to work. But
Mhm.
but yeah, you're like so far the resident super fan of this game because
I am.
it's an actual
Thanks.
game. That's what we were saying. Like
Mhm.
Alex, you love space engineers and whatnot, but at the same time, there's not much of a game there. You build stuff,
Exactly.
and then what do you do?
Yeah,
really?
that's
what do you do?
That's why it's for me. It's basically the first game I'm aware of that really lets you build your own ship and then play a real game with it.
yeah.
And that's so rare to me.
At least in
that
3D,
when I
there's
first got it up.
there's
Yeah.
some 2D games that let you do that, like reassembly and whatnot. But like
Yeah.
this is I think the
Mhm.
first 3D game where
I
not
like
only
reassembly a lot as well. But even there's a little. I think the game core gameplay lacks in reassembly as well. There's the
Yeah.
same problem, I think, a bit. And in Avorion, I mean, I have like 50 hours in the game now since it came out in early
wait, how
access.
many?
I played a lot.
How many hours?
50.
Oh my
50.
god! Wow!
I can't put it out. It's just
Wow!
Nice.
I just
Really
enjoy
glad you
playing.
like it. Really, really glad you like it. It's
For
just
me,
awesome.
I think like to me it feels like I've waited for this game for a long time. Yeah. Just the UI could be a bit yeah. I asked that before. What bothers me most is like the bars in the middle, because my ship could be there. So I have to put my ship above the bars, and this is just wasted space to me. You know what I mean? Because the ship is in the middle as well. I would put the bars to the side if I could.
Oh, the bars with the
health
HP
bars.
bars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Because
Okay.
my new ship has so many guns now, and the overheating things stack up, and it gets higher.
Oh,
and higher.
yeah. Absolutely. That needs to work. Yeah, I totally agree. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a question from the chat. TDO
Uh-huh.
Stalker. I think he has two names. I don't know how to read this. His question is there anything planned for the future of fighters? Right now they're a bit underpowered and expensive. So maybe smaller custom-made ships.
I want to make fighters harder to kill. Basically, I don't want to give them more HP, but I want to give them. I want to make them harder to kill. It's right now fighters are expensive and they need pilots, and they would just get shot down immediately. They get hit by one random shot and they die, and that's it. And basically the big advantage of fighters should be that they are really, really hard to hit, and you need special weapons to get rid of them. And I want to make sure that actually is the case, that actually happens, that they're hard to kill, that they're maybe give them some evasion mechanics, so they can enter states where they do some sick loops and things, and they can't be hit in this during these animations. But we're still looking into the balancing of the fighters, and I'm aware that they're not ideal currently.
Okay, that's great. Now we have not really a question, but more of a concern from Vulcan in the chat. He says he's worried about the longevity of the game because he's saying that shooting the AI in the center will get repetitive. So is there any kind of post-release or even pre-release plan to maybe, because you talked about factions being a difficult thing to stabilize because of the procedural nature of the game, but will there be any kind of larger meta game perhaps that might be implemented or added later? I mean, you got the station building and stuff, but I'm just curious about maybe something larger than that, even like a business empire or something.
Yes, that's where we want to actually. I think the combat parts of the game are pretty great, and we will not finish, but we will add a few additions to that, like maybe torpedoes and such. But I also want to focus on the meta game, as you called it. I want to make sure that you can found more stations, that you can actually have carriers. So cargo haulers, cargo carriers is that will go between your stations and maybe trade, and that you can. It won't be like a game because due to technical limitations of the server, you can't just access one sector from another sector. That's just technically difficult, if not impossible. But it would be possible to give orders to ships that are currently with you in that sector, and then have them go into another sector and maybe do something there. As I said earlier, I want to make sure that sectors with player ships and player stations are kept alive, so they're not unloaded, and updated and with a simplified algorithm, basically, which is already in the game, actually. But due to memory issues mostly, because the game eats up a lot of memory, because all this stuff has to be kept in memory, and the sizes of the different blocks have to be kept in memory, orientations have to be kept in memory, all this stuff has to be kept in memory. So it eats up a lot of memory currently, and we're currently at a point where we can't do too much about that. So you would need a very beefy computer to have an actual empire working like over half the galaxy. Let's put it like this. But the good news is I have some ideas where we can maybe simplify mechanics where you are not immediately present, so we don't have to keep all this stuff in memory. It might be a simplified simulation of the game. It might not be Newtonian physics in every sector and stuff, but we should be able to make some basics like ships flying, docking, some scripting interactions to make all this possible without having all these sectors in memory completely.
Wow, that was. Sorry, I'm losing.
Yeah, that's a lot of programming talk.
That was a lot of programming talk. Yeah, but that sounds like you have a really solid plan for not only the end of early access, but the future of the game. Are you guys planning any kind of expansions or DLC or anything once the game is launched?
Not right now, but maybe. But we're not going to do. We will see. I can't definitive answer just yet. Right now, we want to concentrate on getting more content into the game, making it more long-term rewarding, because people are currently hitting a not a wall, but they're starting to see the boundaries of the game, and we want to expand on that. So, yeah, it's not like a politician here. Basically, the answer is we'd love to make some, but I can't yet give a definitive answer. But we will definitely do some free updates after the release of the game. That's we're gonna do that. But maybe larger things like I was thinking maybe a DLC where you can then explore these hyperspace rifts, maybe something like that. That maybe something we could package as a DLC. I think that would be content that would be great for something like a DLC.
Oh, okay. And yeah, we'll take this. I'll take this as the last thing to talk about before we start wrapping up. Excelsior would like to see if you can add hangars so people can log out safely in multiplayer.
That's kind of difficult because all ships have different sizes, so you can't really park them anywhere in other ships yet. But you can build your own hangar if you want to do this. What we want to do is, together with the group update patch, which will be coming soon, which will be the first content update, not the big alliances update, but a small content update, will be safe zones. There will be maybe stations or some kind of protective field so that you can't get shot down in several sectors. So you're safe there, basically. Yeah. It's a concern that many people have brought up so far, and I think it's reasonable to add something like that.
That seems reasonable. All right, let's wrap up with what you guys are playing right now. I mean, I know you're working on this quite a bit, but besides this, are you guys playing anything specifically right now that you're having fun with?
Currently, I'm playing a lot of Overwatch. I love Overwatch. Earlier, I loved League of Legends and I love shooters. So basically, that's the perfect game for me. I also love playing space games, but I can't keep playing them. It's really difficult because every time I boot up a space game, it's like I want to go do some development on my own space game, and I haven't managed to play a single space game for longer than an hour over the last 4 years.
Whoa.
which is actually weird, I think. But I can't get myself to it. I always get the urge to work on Avorion. Actually,
well,
it's kind of weird, but yeah,
fair. It's fair. You're making your own. You know that you probably play a space game and you're like, oh, my game does this better, or this game does not do what I want to do. I get it. You're making one, so like. That's probably why I will never make.
It's often like, oh my god, this is so awesome! I want this. I have to make this, and then it's gone. I stop playing. I try to. It's too much inspiration. Space games, yeah. So yeah.
Fair, yeah. You'll play one and be like, oh, I want my game to do that. Yeah. So no, I totally get it. That's why I work in search engine optimization, and it's ruined the web for me. Like totally ruined. Like any website I go to now, it's like, nope, wrong, nope, this is stupid, you're bad, this is awful. I know what you mean. Stop it. Yeah, so yeah, that's I totally get that.
I'm really scared of you visiting our website now.
You know what? I will be honest with you. If there's one thing that indie game developers never get right, it's their websites. So I just that's always a pass. That is always a pass. Okay. So that's
a relief.
You focus on the game. You're not like a B2B type thing where you're trying to sell, your services. I mean, you kind of are, but at the same time, I think a lot of gamers understand that you're an indie gamer. You're going to focus more on your game than on your website. I mean, I think every I think every gamer's website should have a forum and a blog, and you guys are fine with that. But like, work on the game. Don't work on the site. You're not like a business just trying to get new customers, basically. Well, you kind of are, but like I said, gamers understand that you should be working on the game and not the website. But like I go to a lot of other sites, it's like, oh God, what are you doing? But indie games, yeah, there are a lot of bad indie game webs. Like I've seen so many game websites for like indie games where it's just a page that they threw together on Wix, and it's got a video and like one line of text and like a couple of links to like YouTube and Facebook, and that's it. It's like, okay, fine. I guess you're gonna try and have most of your shit on Steam. Sorry, stuff on Steam. Sure. But come on. So yeah, don't worry about that. So I get that. I totally get that making your own space games can ruin other space games for you. Totally get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Philip, what about you? What do you play?
Yeah, I'm not playing so much at the time. Maybe some of the Tomb Raider reboot, because it's really relaxing, like playing a movie.
The new one or the new one? Like,
new one, the first new one.
Oh, okay, because wasn't there a second in the reboot?
Yeah,
series? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I haven't played any.
Maybe I'll go to that, but I didn't finish the first one yet. And I'm looking into Battlefield 1 because I really like shooters. So
apparently that's a lot of fun. A lot of people tell me. Apparently that.
Maybe I really like sandbox and open world games, but. Yeah, I'm focusing on one game at a time.
No, that's totally fair. Alex, what about you? What are you playing? Besides, you're playing a lot of Avorion. I know. Besides Avorion, what are you playing?
Good question. Actually, I think in the last week I haven't played anything but Avorion. And I started to work on my own game again. So I tried to make some headway with that. I paused for a long time. Now I'm back at that. And my own game and Avorion is at the moment. And occasionally I play a round of Star Wars Battlefront. Just got that from the last sale. I'm enjoying that. That's basically it for the moment.
Nice. All right, well, let's wrap up. Just a few quick programming notes, my friends. This Thursday for Multiplayer Madness, because it just hit GOG, we're going to be trying some multiplayer SWAT 4. SWAT. Remember, if you guys don't know what SWAT 4 is, it's an amazing first-person tactical police game where you play a SWAT member and you can't just go in and shoot everyone. You actually have to come and try and arrest people. So it's amazing in single player. So we're gonna try it in multiplayer. And next week, what are we doing next week on the show? Next week on the show, we are revisiting one of our, I'm not going to say favorite space sims of the 90s, but it's kind of an unsung hero. It's called Star Rangers. It's Interactive Magic's first game that they made, and it was a Star Raiders clone that's actually really, really awesome. And after talking about it a little bit on the Star Crusader podcast recently, we were like, let's talk about Star Rangers, because that's like one of those kind of forgotten 90s space sims that some people liked and some people didn't, and a lot of people are forgotten about. So we're going to talk about that game next week on the show. So Constantine and Philip, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day working on Avorion to talk about Avorion.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you too. It was great.
My pleasure. Folks, if you haven't checked it out yet, it's called Avorion, Avorion, and it's on Steam Early Access for, oh God, how much? It's like 14 or 7.
$18.
Yeah, it's currently $18. Totally worth it because you got procedural, not only you get shipbuilding, but you get procedural galaxy, and you don't even have to build ships if you don't want to. You can just buy them right off the bat. Which is really nice because if you're like me and you don't have the patience to build ships, you can just go to a shipyard and just get one. So, which is really nice. So it's really great. A lot of us have been really enjoying it so far, so you should definitely check it out. Again, it's Avorion. It is on Steam right now, early access. Really a lot of positive vibes about this one, so definitely check it out. And again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. And chat, the various chats, Twitch, YouTube, Discord. Thank you, everyone. You've been very active this morning, so this has been really great. It's been really great having so much back and forth in the chat. So thank you, everyone, for checking this out. And I apologize again earlier for the audio stuff earlier. Hopefully that was fixed once I switched Discord servers. And again, final thing, if you guys haven't subscribed either to the podcast or the YouTube channel, please do so. We are approaching 5,000 subscribers. That would be a wonderful milestone to hit sooner rather than later on the YouTube channel. So that would be great. And also, we got our second iTunes review. It's a 5-star review. So if you have subscribed to us on iTunes, please like us and rate us. That'd be great. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening. Thank you, Constantine and Philip and Alex, for joining us. And we will see you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
See you guys.